the Super Bowl lead through the Kansas City Chiefs, even if not through Kansas City. Let's talk some Chiefs. Oh man, just getting there, adjusting the tie. Don't mind me. Welcome to the Chief of the North and RGR Football. I'm Seth Kaiser, the Chief of the North, Minnesota Chiefs fan, or whatever you feel like calling me. Because all I know is one thing: is that I cheer for a team that, for the sixth consecutive year, is playing for the AFC Championship. This time they're going on the road, which is unfortunate, but you can't host the AFC Championship every year. Some years you might have to go on the road for a playoff game or two. The Chiefs are in the midst of one of the most successful 6-year runs in NFL history, and it's incredible. It's an unbelievable time to be a Chiefs fan. I have absolutely no idea what will happen in Baltimore on Sunday, but man, life is good. The Chiefs took down Josh Allen, and a very game Josh Allen. He had a lot of he made some plays. A really good running team. James Cook played really well. They took down those Bills in Buffalo. They defeated the snowball throwing hordes at Orchard Park, or in Orchard Park, I guess. And it was a lot of fun to watch. And it clearly meant a lot to the team. And man, there's so many things to talk about. But of course, the first thing that we're going to talk about is Mahomes. As I try to do every week here, I want to talk about a few of the things that interested me from the previous game, and then talk about what I'm going to be covering for the rest of the week on the Chief of the North newsletter. I'm a little truncated for time today, which I feel like I'm saying all the time, but I've got to go pick up my kids and bring them to Taekwondo. And you know how that goes. Dad duty trumps Chiefs something duty. Coverage, analysis, YouTube videos. It's hard to say. All right. First, I'm going to take a look at some of the mailbag questions that we've got from last week's, which I appreciate everyone tuning in. One of the first comments was "missed you" from Nickum6571. You know what? Or Nikki M, not Nickum. I'm sorry, Nikki M. I'm thinking based on your profile picture. You know what? I missed you too, Nikki M. It's one of my favorite things to do is to talk directly to you guys, even from my office here. And so I'm going to take a look. We got a couple. I said amazing audio. How do you do it? No idea if you're being sarcastic or not. You might be, because let's be honest, I'm not always great at this, but I do the best that I can. And Ryan makes me sound better than I actually do. So if I sound bad, imagine how bad I sounded before Ryan did something to it. And if I sound good, it's only because Ryan's a genius. A couple of mailbag questions that I want to talk about Patrick Mahomes, talk about a few things that stood out to me about the Chiefs beating the Bills, and a couple things that I'm looking for in Chiefs Ravens. I can do that in 12 minutes. Yeah, before I get to that, hit like, hit subscribe, do all those things to support the team here at RGR Football, because there's a lot of great people here, and I exist too. But, I'm kind of separate from the great people, but what can you do? Sherry Street asks, which player do you see the Chiefs keeping, Jones or Snead? And do you see them trading for Scary Terry? I do not see them trading for Scary Terry. I wish they would. I think that would be awesome. I think his contract, anytime you can trade for a player who's like in the second year of a big contract, with most teams, the way that they structure their contracts, because of signing bonuses, you actually get a discount if you trade for them, because some of the guaranteed money, especially teams that hand out decent sized signing bonuses, some of it, if not a lot of it, is tied up in that. And so you end up on the hook for 10, 15, 20 million less dollars in the contract overall. And so a good example of that would be Scary Terry, Terry McLaurin with the Washington Commanders, who's obviously a really good player, didn't have quite the season people were expecting from him after having huge seasons previously. So here's the deal. So he signed, prior to the 2023 season, basically a 3-year extension for 23, 24, and 25. Now it's a huge deal. And this is just kind of a general thing to talk about how salaries work at the NFL level. It's a pretty big deal. 3 years, $68 million. That's a lot of money. An average salary of $22.8 million. It's probably more money than the Chiefs really want to pay a receiver right now with everything else going on in the roster. But here's the interesting thing that works with this. The amount guaranteed at signing is $34.6 million, right? The signing bonus, which remember, that's a signing bonus. That's given to the player when they put pen to paper, right? That was $28 million. And so what you have, that way that the cash versus cap thing works, that cash is already out the door. And then that cap hit, any team that trades for him saves on $5.6 million of cap hit every single year. So let's say, like, for 2024, for example, his base salary skyrockets to $15.1 million. But Washington has to pay a signing bonus, which is their cap hit. The signing bonus they've already paid, that gets prorated every year. So every year, $5.6 million comes out, right? Well, in this year, and I'm not saying they're going to do this. This is just a good example to talk about how these contracts work. $5.6 million there, the Chiefs would not have that. And so rather than him being a cap hit for the Chiefs of $24 million next year, it'd be more like $18.9, $19 million. So that's why if you can trade for a good player in the second year of their contract, it's often a good idea to take a look at it, because you could potentially get a discount on a high-level player. All right. Do I think they'll do that? No, because I think they need their draft resources, but I do expect them to be somewhat aggressive in addressing it. And Terry McLaurin would be a great target, a guy who can genuinely win, who's a genuine X receiver, can play on the boundary. He would be a great target for them to have. I don't think that's the route they'll go, but it would definitely interest me. I think he'd be a great tandem guy with Rashee Rice. In terms of, do I see them keeping Jones or Snead? Had you asked me before the season, I would have said Chris Jones. Now I'm 50-50 on it. Chris Jones clearly thinks that he's probably gone after this year with some of the stuff that he said. Even, like, I don't know if you've seen the video yet. He got emotional prior to the wild card game, telling guys to enjoy it, that for some of them, this is going to be their last time at Arrowhead. And he got emotional. You could see it. So he thinks it's going to go a certain way. We'll see what happens. I think his agents are going to try to find the highest offer they can get. And maybe the open market doesn't offer him what the Chiefs are willing to offer him. Maybe he gets to the open market, finds there's no one willing to pay $30 million a year, given his age and everything like that. And there's just a select number of teams that are willing to pay $30 million a year for a defensive tackle. You've got to be a contender. There's just a bunch of things that go into it. So I do think it'll probably be L'Jarius Sneed, just with how much they value him and the fact that a corner is cheaper than a defensive tackle. The thing is, that is going to create a massive hole in the middle of the defense that they are going to have to throw a ton of resources at, because their entire pass rush is based around Chris Jones. So that's just something worth considering. One person commented, Latrell5517 said, I missed this premiere. I was hanging out at the gym talking to this hot chick, which that's a joke from Only Weird Games, because guys at the gym keep hitting on my wife, and it's hilarious. So kudos to you. All right, let's talk about what stood out to me. Chiefs Bills, because we're already, however many minutes in, we haven't talked Chiefs Bills. I'm going to try to hit these things one time. The first and foremost thing is Patrick Mahomes. And that became obvious from basically the first snap of the game where he was required to do anything. You all remember it. You all saw it. But this is just ridiculous. And I understand it probably doesn't show up as well on your screen because of the way the video clip came out. But the second play of the game, it was obvious who was here for this game, and it was playoff Mahomes. Rashee Rice, by the way, got a little banged up on this play. But this right here, turning this from a loss into a big play, that's where quarterbacks can separate their value more so than almost anything else. And that's what Mahomes did on several occasions against the Bills, where he just took a negative play, turned it into a positive play. And everyone gets used to that. Everyone understands the things that he does in terms of creating value. Being able to create good plays out of bad plays is one of the most valuable things that a quarterback or any other player can do. And Mahomes does it at a higher rate and in a more explosive way than anyone else in the league. But what he also does that he maybe doesn't get enough credit for is that he was doing a lot of this against the Bills as well. Just seeing the field, seeing the read he wants, hitting his back foot, and making great throws, one after another after another. Another thing he doesn't get enough credit for, the Bills were trying to utilize some blitzes, similar to against Miami. Mahomes, time after time, was getting the protections dialed up just right to make sure that he had enough time to make the throws that he needed to make. He also just dropped a couple of absolute dimes, and I've got to give a shout out here to move to MVS. Marquez Valdes-Scantling only had a couple catches, but they were both clutch catches, and they were both tough catches. This is an incredible throw, by the way. And he was one of the things that stood out to me about the game, because the reality is, against the Ravens, who take away deep shots better than any team in the league, it's interesting. They're going up against a team like the Chiefs, who have learned to live almost without those deep shots. And so, do the Ravens still play with an emphasis on taking away deep shots, knowing the Chiefs haven't been as good at taking them? I have no idea. That's one of the interesting matchup conundrums with Chiefs Ravens, that I genuinely don't know what direction it's going to go. But what I do know is this: the Chiefs had multiple big plays, and a couple times were able to test the Bills down the field when the Bills dared them to, with single high coverage, with aggressive man looks, things like that. They were able to test them down the field when the Bills presented those coverage looks. And MVS was a big part of that. Oh, it's only 2 plays. Yep, but those 2 plays have an outsized impact on the rest of the game. We talked about this after the Chiefs Bengals game, where at least putting it on film, forcing them to respect certain looks, it alters the coverages that you're going to face and provides for opportunities elsewhere. So think of it in terms of attempts at, an offense wants to have the entire bag available to them. Okay, they want to have their entire bag of tricks available to them. What good defenses do is they reach into the bag and they take out 3 or 4 of your favorite tricks, right? 3 or 4 of your favorite toys, 3 or 4 of your favorite tools, whatever it is. Let's use tools and tool belt, however you want to use it. Okay. What good defenses do is they take those things away right out of the gate, and they try to narrow those options. And then what that allows them to do is the defense only has to operate right here. Okay. They don't need to worry about this other stuff because they've taken it away. A good offense, you're trying to force them to defend everything, the every blade of grass thing. Think of it that way: horizontally, vertical, every inch of the field, but also every form of play, whether it's, inside outside zone, as well as power gap stuff in the run game, whether it's, tunnel screens to wide receivers, traditional screens, deep shots, intermediate shots, man concept beaters like mesh, something like that. Okay. The idea is that no matter what problem the defense throws at you, because you've got a deep bag of tricks, you have a solution to it. That's what the offense is trying to do. Meanwhile, the defense is trying to narrow all that. And that's one of the things that just hitting a deep shot or two to MVS can present. And that's why, honestly, of all the things that happened in the game, Patrick Mahomes being brilliant, Isaiah Pacheco being brilliant, and the offensive line being brilliant, MVS and Pacheco, 2 biggest takeaways for me. Because if you can get an MVS who can provide you with just one really good downfield play in a game, it is a complete difference maker. And that works in more ways than one. The one way is the one we just got done talking about. It forces the defense to defend extra things, which then gives you other areas that you can attack. You grab that other tool belt. Hey, look, here's that Rashee Rice that we can use to punish teams underneath. Here's that Travis Kelce that we can use to punish teams underneath. You can do that when you've got someone who's legitimately threatening deep. The other thing is, 30, 40-yard gains are field flippers. They create a situation where you're almost, depending on where you're at when you got the play, you're almost guaranteed to score at least some points. And against a team like the Ravens, where points are going to be at a premium, because that's a great, great defense, that's going to be incredibly important. And so, with what the Chiefs defense did against the Bills coming together in the fourth quarter, I'm nervous about the way that the Bills were able to run the ball initially. I think the Ravens are going to try to exploit a lot of that. The presence of Willie Gay Jr. is going to be extremely important, and hopefully Mike Edwards can get right. Those are going to be wildly important things to this game. But seriously, on the offensive side of the ball, yes, Patrick Mahomes is the sun around which the entire solar system orbits. However, MVS and Pacheco, the offensive line matters. Travis Kelce is, of course, the other most important. He's the Jupiter to Patrick Mahomes' son. But Pacheco being able to run the ball effectively, and MVS being able to threaten the field deep, being able to force them to defend every level of the field, is going to be absolutely crucial against the Ravens when the Chiefs have the ball, because it's not going to be enough to ask Mahomes to be Superman. You saw what that happened with CJ Stroud in that situation. Is Stroud Mahomes? No. Is that as well coached team, and were they as ready for the moment? I don't think they were. But you can't ask a quarterback to do it by himself there. And that's where MVS is going to be important for a second game in a row, or anyone, right? Justin Watson, whether it's Rashee Rice, but he's kind of baked into the actual game plan. McCole Hardman, I know people are mad at him, but that's going to be so important to have a couple people that add to those big plays. when the Chiefs are on defense, and I've run out of time, but I do have to say, when the Chiefs are on defense, I think the game is going to be won and lost on first and second down as opposed to third down. Spags has proven who he is on third down. Lamar Jackson is great. He's going to make some conversions with his legs. He's going to make some conversions with unbelievable throws. Can they force him to do it constantly, or is he only asked to do it occasionally? Josh Allen is great, but he only needed to bail out the Bills' offense occasionally until the fourth quarter because they were able to run the ball so effectively. When they were able to start forcing third and mid to third and long multiple times per drive, that's when they were able to have some success. And that's why I think you're going to see the game won or lost on first and second down. If the Ravens are getting 6-7 yards per carry on first down, it's going to be a tough game for the Chiefs because you're going to have those lowered possessions and that sort of thing, kind of thinning out the margin for error for both sides. And so I'm excited to see what's going to happen here. I cannot wait. I think it's an opportunity for Mahomes' legacy, which has already been improved this year with what he's already accomplished, considering the makeup of this team. It's a chance to take yet another step forward, play against a great team and a great quarterback and a great defense. It doesn't get any better than this. That's the time that I've got for you guys. Thanks for joining me. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, do all that fun stuff. Hopefully we'll see you next week talking about a potential Super Bowl. And just keep in mind, no matter what happens, it's a great day to be a Chiefs fan.